Okay, Nalin, can we get to know you?
Yes, so
Okay.
my name is Nalin. I am a TEDx speaker. I am also a member of the John Maxwell team. I'm a certified leadership coach, trainer, and an inspirational speaker. I am based out of Muscat, Oman, in the Middle East. I am also the group chief
Okay.
executive officer for National Gas Company based in Oman, and I'm very happy to be here.
Oh, nice. So, can you share with us your success story? How you've been able to achieve
Sorry, Stephen.
where you are?
Sorry, Stephen. I had lost your voice. Could you repeat, please? Can't hear you, Stephen.
Okay. Yeah, I said, can you share with us your story, just in a brief?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So you want me to start first? That would be great.
Okay.
Okay. So good afternoon, friends. I am very happy to be here with you today. I sincerely thank Stephen and the organizers for having me here on this panel. I would have loved being with you all today in person. However, with the current COVID situation, I believe this is the best that we can have. Just before I move on, I just wanted to make sure that everybody is able to hear me. Am I audible? Yeah? Yes or no? Stephen, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
Wonderful, wonderful. So just to, as we start on, the world is witnessing unprecedented turn of events when an invisible virus has brought the world to a standstill. Superpowers are struggling to maintain their superpower status. Businesses are struggling to protect profits and somehow sustain. People are scared of losing jobs. Small businesses are facing risk of closure. No one knows when life would get back to the known normal, or would this become the new normal. I understand that in our audience today, we have many college students and young professionals. I welcome you all. I can understand that there is a lot of anxiety in your minds. Whirlwind of thoughts are racing in your mind at all times these days. The biggest question looming in our minds is, where will I find a job now? Some of you have been placed through campus recruitments and are worried whether the companies will stick to their commitments. Even if they do, whether the company is still the company you want to work for in the post COVID scenario. For those of you with an entrepreneurial bent of mind, you may have an anxiety on whether this is the right time to start your own business. For those of you who are in jobs, are worried about sustaining them. I think the first thing that we all need to accept is that certain situations are beyond our control. And this is definitely one of those situations. We don't have any control on what's happening in the world.
Okay.
While we can't do much about the global challenge that nations across geographies are facing today, what we can possibly do is whatever is in our control. Each and every one of us
Okay.
faces problems. Imagining a problem free life would be just wishful thinking. But that doesn't mean that we need to remain in a state of anxiety. This is not the only problem that has come in your life, right? We have always had problems, big or small, in our lives before also. If you think back in hindsight, you have emerged successful from all your past problems. Each problem that you have faced in the past at that time was probably the biggest problem for you. Today, those problems have made you better, stronger, and wiser. So problems are all learning opportunities, and I would strongly urge you to look at it that way. Now, I've been asked to speak about leadership today. Leadership is not about positions. It is not about corner offices. It is not about titles. If we believe that I can't lead if I am not at the top, then we are wrong. If we believe when I get to the top, I learned to lead, then we are wrong. If we believe that people would only follow me if I were the top leader, then we are wrong. If we believe that I can't reach my potential if I'm not the top leader, then also we are wrong. Leadership is a really vast subject, and we do not have time enough today to even cover the broad aspects on this subject. However, what I would do is I would want to touch upon one critical trait that not only guarantees becoming a good leader, but also a great individual, which ultimately we all want to be. Leadership is all about enhancing influence. Good leaders always work towards enhancing their influence. One aspect that all good leaders are conscious of is they control their attitude, which is what I'm going to talk about today. Controlling your attitude. Because all good leaders control their attitude. Our attitude towards people, towards our colleagues, towards our family, towards life situations is always in our control. A successful person is not a person with a certain set of circumstances that I tell that, oh, I was born with a golden spoon or I was born with a silver spoon and I didn't have a good upbringing. I didn't get good education. So these are all circumstances, but ultimately, if you see, there are hundreds of examples all around you where you see that a successful person is not a person with a certain set of circumstances, but a certain set of attitude. It's not what happens to me, it's what happens in me that counts. There is this story about a farmer who is passing through the jungle with his donkey when the donkey slips and falls into a deep pit. The farmer tries a lot to get the donkey out, but he is unable to. He finds few other people passing through the jungle and seeks their help. All of them try but are unable to get the donkey out. They ultimately decide that since it is impossible to get the donkey out, let's bury the donkey in the same pit and start putting in the sand to fill up the pit. The donkey, which has got all the willpower to emerge out of this problem, shakes off the sand off his body and jumps up every time the sand is thrown at it. Gradually, the sand level rises in the pit and the donkey is able to emerge out of the pit. So, the attitude to succeed and emerge out of any problem led the donkey to come out alive. And such attitude is no less applicable to us human beings as well, right? We also, until we want to succeed, we will never succeed. In fact, the true character of leaders emerges in tough times. Such times have got all the power to break you, but only if you let it break you. Some people are natural cribbers and they would crib irrespective of the situation. And some people have all the difficulties in life, but would still be jovial with the right mental attitude. Now, there was this gentleman who used to crib every afternoon when he opened his tiffin in his office during lunchtime. Again, the same halloumi cheese sandwich. Again, the same halloumi cheese sandwich. Oh, I hate halloumi cheese sandwich. So his colleagues asked him, why doesn't he tell his wife to prepare something else for his lunch rather than the halloumi cheese sandwich which you hate so much? He gets angry at his colleagues and says, keep my wife out of this. I make my own sandwiches. So if you were to be hired by a company, obviously they would look at your skills, they would look at your competencies. When you are seeking growth and promotion in an organization, the company looks at how ambitious you are, whether you aspire to grow in the organization. They would also see if you are skilled, if you are competent for that new role. But more importantly, they would see your attitude towards the company, towards the people, and towards the excessive demands on time and energy. What is your attitude on that? That would be the determining factor. All things being equal, if there are two persons with the exact same set of qualifications, with same set of experience, with same set of competencies, the person who gets promoted is the one Who? The one with the right attitude, right? So attitude, therefore, is a major qualifier. It's a major qualifier, and it can be a major disqualifier for some. So if your attitude is not right, you may be the most talented person in the room, but if you're not having the right attitude, you may not get the promotion. You may not get the growth. And our attitude is our choice. It's completely our choice. Now, I have been fortunate to have worked in various geographies and I've lived in various countries. Recently, when I was there at a keynote speech, I was asked by an audience member, which place out of the various places that I have lived in makes me happy? I said, the happiness depends on me and not the place. I am happy wherever I am. If I have the positive attitude, my happiness is not dependent on the place I live. It's dependent on me. Our attitude helps us attract others with positive attitudes. When we are positive, we will find positive people. Attitude helps us become more successful. But bear in mind, attitude cannot replace our talents and skills. Attitude is important, but you need to have the subject expertise. When you go for a job, you cannot say that I've got a very good attitude. I don't know the work to do. So would they hire you? No. You definitely need the skills. You definitely need that talent. You definitely need the subject expertise. But attitude is what is going to add on. Attitude is what is going to take you further in life. Once I was invited to speak at a session on happiness. And me and my wife both were there, and my wife was sitting there in the audience. One of the audience members stood up at the end of the session and asked me if she could ask a question to my wife. I said, go ahead. She asked my wife, does Nalin make you happy? I thought to myself on hearing that question, my wife is surely going to say yes. I was stunned when she said, no, he doesn't make me happy. I was looking at her in shock. People have paid to come to my conference, and my wife is saying I don't make her happy. Then she said, after our wedding, for the first 6 months, she always expected me to make her happy. But he was always busy in the early years of his career and his frequent travels. Then, she continued, she realized that no one else except for herself could make her happy. And the day she realized that, from that day onwards, Nalin has always added to her happiness. I was so much relieved. The point I'm trying to make is that we are responsible for our own happiness and our attitude. Our attitude can be our best of the best friend, or it can be our worst enemy. Our attitude can draw people to us, or it can repel them. We all talk about success. We all talk about happiness, and we all want to be successful. As human beings, we all want to be successful. But what success really is? Is it getting wealth like Bill Gates? Is it sporting abilities like Michael Jordan? Is it philanthropy like Mother Teresa? Is it about getting creative and imaginative abilities like Walt Disney? I believe success is a journey and not a destination. Success is about adding value to yourself each day and achieving the tremendous potential that we all are blessed with. Whatever is happening today in the world was not expected by anyone, but take it as a blessing in disguise. Consider it as an opportunity to develop yourself further. Don't consider that the degree you have got from the college is the be all and end all of life. Schools, colleges are foundation stones in your career, but learning doesn't have to stop there. So remember, today's investment is actually tomorrow's return. Many a times, knowing fully well what is right, what is not right. We still want to follow the easy path. But remember, life will never become easy because it was never meant to be easy. If it was easy, we all would be robots doing the same thing every day. There would be no excitement, no passion, no satisfaction, no happiness. It is too easy and comfortable being average. We can all be average. Just do the minimum just to sustain ourselves. It is very easy to be average. But always remember, being average never gets good grades. Being average never gets you promotions. Being average never gets you salary raises. Being average never gets you to achieve your true potential. We have to keep on striving hard. We have to keep on making sacrifices in our lives to progress further. That's what leaders are all about. We have to give up to go up. Sacrifices are so important. Sacrifice may sound to be such a negative word that you need to give away something or deprive yourself of something. But I tell you, in fact, sacrifice is an extremely positive word. We are giving away something of a lesser value in return for something more worthy, right or wrong? Giving away the good for getting something greater is, I believe, a worthy sacrifice. The higher you have to go, the tougher the trade offs. Sacrifice could be anything, maybe watching less TV, sleeping less, not socializing that much, not partying that much, spending lesser time with friends. Again, I'm not saying that friends are not important. Friends are extremely important. They are our backbone, they are our support function. But you need to constantly monitor your friend circle and keep on assessing whether your friends are taking you uphill. Anything worthwhile is uphill. Better to stay alone than with friends who bring you downhill. Doesn't mean that if you are alone, you have to get into the wrong company. Put brakes on our success by our self limiting beliefs. Once a man was passing the elephants. He suddenly stopped, confused by the fact that these huge creatures were being held by only a small rope tied to their front leg. No chains, no cages. It was obvious that the elephants could, at any time, break away from their bonds, but for some reason they didn't. Get away. Well, the trainer said, when they were very young and much smaller, we used the same size rope to tie them, and at that age, it's enough to hold them. As they grow up, they are conditioned to believe they believe the rope can still hold them. So they, but because they believed they couldn't, they were stuck right where they were. And this is what happens with us most of the time. We make these self-limiting beliefs so strong that we don't even attempt to do things we always wanted to do. We start valuing others' opinion of ourselves so greatly that we undermine ourselves. Have confidence in your abilities, dream big, and always work towards polishing yourself. The biggest investment you can make is in yourself. We will always have excuses and opportunities to blame others. Never play the blame game. We will always have our parents, our bosses, our spouses, our siblings, the traffic, paucity of time,
weather, economy, corona. We'll have hundreds of excuses to blame. But that's not we should be. She didn't know how she was going to make it. She was tired of fighting and struggling all the time. It seemed just as one problem was solved, another one soon followed. Her father, a chef, took her to the kitchen and he filled 3 pots with water and placed each one of them on a high fire. Once the 3 pots began to boil, he showed it to the daughter again. The potatoes were now soft. The egg was hard boiled, and the coffee was in the ladle, and it was like the water had turned into the coffee. So the father asked, "Daughter, what do you see?" She says, "Potato, eggs, and coffee." He said, "Look closer. The potatoes have become softer. They all face the same adversity, but they all reacted differently. Potato went in strong and hard, unrelenting, but it became soft and weak. Egg was fragile, it became hard. And the coffee was unique. After it was exposed to the water, it changed the water and created something new. So, which one are you? I also ask you today, are you a potato? Are you an egg? Or a coffee bean? Yeah? So don't overthink, don't feel anxious. In life, howsoever best we plan, still not everything may go as planned. So don't worry, things beyond your control, you cannot do anything. But remember that we can stay behind closed doors and stay paralyzed by self-limiting beliefs, or we can open up and take life head on and excel in life. Good luck for a very bright future. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Stephen.
Wow, wow, that's so fantastic. Thank you very much, Nadine. It was an amazing session. Okay, we're talking about attitude and the likes. So I have a question to ask from you. Okay, as a student, how do you think I can improve on my attitude?
Morning, I think when we wake up, we have to start believing that today will
Okay,
be a good day. Open open your eyes with a positive mindset.
okay,
Yeah. Maybe wake up
okay,
like 10 minutes so that you're not rushing to work, you're not rushing to college. Because when you have got positive time, you will tend to get angry with people. If you find traffic on the road, you'll get angry with people. So where you are failing short, why you are getting that angry, why the positivity is not there. So I think it is also a choice. You have to be to decide that okay, today is a good day, and you believe that today is a good day. I am not going to speak with anger to anybody. I am not going to scold anybody. I'm not going to hate anybody. Live your life one day at a time. We may talk about losing 20 kgs in a month, but that will never happen. We should think about 100 grams every day or 200 grams every day. So think small. Make micro resolutions that today's day I will be positive. At least for today, I will not fight with anybody. At least for today, I'll not get angry at anybody. You will see the difference. You will get that positive attitude.
okay, good. How about in the place of think of believing in positivity and you are being rejected from what you'll be doing? So how can you work on it?
Stephen?
Hello? So were you able to hear me? Hello?
Yes. Can you repeat your question, please?
Okay. Okay. I asked that how. Okay. If someone is being rejected and you're talking about attitude, so how can someone work against wrong attitude in rejections? Sometimes as students, you might be applying for different roles, you might be willing to do so many things, and things are not working well for you, and you're putting in your attitude, you're putting in your best in it. So what will be your piece of advice for anyone that is into such a shoe?
Uh, I understand your question. Would be my advice to people who are putting in their best but not succeeding? Is what you're saying? The line is bad, Stephen. I suggest is if it is possible, maybe you can type the question in the chat box because I was getting the call dropped in between. Can I request everybody to just drop their questions in the chat box, and I can
Okay.
take one by one because the voice is breaking.
Okay. The question I asked that how do you create a better attitude in the midst of rejections as a student?
Okay. So the thing is, if you are rejected, how do you keep a better attitude? Yeah. So see, rejection doesn't mean that there is something wrong with you. Rejection is not necessarily because you are not worthy. Rejection could be for 100 reasons. Maybe they are not looking for a person with your competencies right away. But that doesn't mean that other companies also don't need that kind of competency. So rejection at one place, rejection at two places, rejection at three places doesn't mean that you are not worthy. I'm sure you all have heard about Harry Potter. You've heard about J.K. Rowling, right? You've heard about J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter series. Have you watched the Harry Potter movies? Have you read the Harry Potter books? Any of you? Yeah. So J.K. Rowling, the author, she got rejected 12 times before she was taken up. Her book was considered for printing. The 13th publisher finally agreed to print her copies, and he only gave her an advance of £1,500 and said that he will try it out by printing some 500 copies to start with. And he was also not confident in the idea, but still he agreed. So the point is that rejection is not a benchmark of your competency or skills. If you are confident in your abilities, if you have done your hard work, if you have done what you were supposed to do, rejection may or may not happen. Failure will be bound to be occurring in our lives. Until we fail, we are not going to succeed. The path of success is through failure only. You look at Walt Disney. We all know Walt Disney movies. We know Disneylands. He was rejected 200 times before he got the funding for his first Disneyland. What would have happened if even after 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, he would have dropped the idea that everybody is rejecting? But he had confidence in his abilities. Jim Carrey, the wonderful actor, he was working as a janitor, but he made out a check of $1 million and kept in his pocket on the confidence that today I am a janitor, but I will definitely get $1 million soon. And everybody knows the story. So don't consider rejections as your assessment or your uh, result, your um, benchmark of success. Rejections are bound to happen.
Good.
So I have a question. Can I apply for a role I'm very competent in, even if I'm not qualified for on paper, and how can I present my case? So see, as I said that if there is a specific requirement for a job that you need to be having certain set of qualifications, then it is very likely that you may not be picked up. Because if the organization's first filtering criteria is that you need to have a certain set of qualification that you must have, then definitely you should have that. If you are able to demonstrate your skills and abilities, fine, do that. Go for an interview if you are called for. and try to put your best foot forward. Tell them that even though you don't have the proper qualification, but you have got practical experience, you have done this work. Maybe you may offer, since you don't have the qualification, maybe you offer that I can come to you at a $500 cheaper price than a qualified person, but I will probably do the better work than that person. So that is again up to you if you are able to convince in the interview. But it is a bit difficult that you may be called for the interview if you don't meet the minimum entry requirements. You might get filtered out in that filtering process.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Nalin. There's a question. Yeah. There's a question there. Okay, attitude is great, rejection is bad, or leadership create a monster and lack of trust in the system. Can you help on this? What is your opinion on this?
Sorry, what did you say? My opinion on leadership?
Your opinion on, okay, attitude is great, rejection is bad, and bad leadership creates a monster and lack of trust in the system. So what is your opinion on this, on how you could work yourself out to ensure that you create a good leadership and create a monster and lack of trust in the system? So
Trust, because as I said, leadership, sorry. Yes. So what I would say, Stephen, is that for any relationship, leadership or otherwise,
okay.
even in your family relationship, your friends, your social relationships, trust is the foundation of any relationship. So if you are not having trust with your followers, then that leader cannot be successful. For leadership to be successful, trust has to be there. Until you are trustworthy, until your followers are able to trust you, they are not going to follow you. So trust is extremely important. A leader, to be a good leader, has to have integrity, has to have honesty, has to be ethical, and has to be trustworthy for him to have followers. Otherwise, people will leave the job at the first opportunity available. You will only have followers and people who are loyal followers if you develop trust with them.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, Nani. Thank you very much. Before we move to the next session, I don't know if you have any piece of advice for students outside on how they can build their leadership, even while seeking for a job, while seeking for roles, while seeking for internship outside.
Is there any further question for me?
No. Okay, I asked that, do you have any, what are your pieces of advice for students outside that are working on their leadership skill while searching for a job, while searching for roles outside?
I would advise all the students to always work on their communication skills. If there's only one skill that you can learn to succeed in life, please work on your communication skills that can take you places. Because sometimes we know everything, we are knowledgeable, we have all the qualifications, but we are not able to present our case. If we are not able to communicate properly, that will destroy our chances, that will damage our opportunities. So I think that is what I would like to advise everybody before leaving.
Okay, thank you very much, Nalin. Thank you very much, Nalin. There's a question here which says, what is your advice? There's a question here, what is your advice for graduates in search of job after college And what is your advice for students in building career relationship while studying?
Building career relationships while studying. So I think
Yeah.
we should always recognize the importance of good networking. We should always recognize the importance of good mentors. So
Okay.
whichever field or whichever area we want to work in, we should look at people who have got experience already, try reaching out to them, and not everybody is bad. I think when you go out, 99% of the people you find in the world are good people. So if you reach out to people, you have got a genuine request, people will help you. There are people ready to help you. So
Okay.
look out for people who have already got the experience in your field. Try
Okay.
seeing what their habits are, how they have succeeded, what their journey has been. Try learning from that.
Okay.
YouTube is a wonderful medium. YouTube, you've got wonderful free resources. Rather than just binge watching movies, maybe you can try spending some time learning about people who you admire, who you aspire to become like. So I think there is tremendous opportunity. Develop good networks, reach out to mentors, reach out to coaches. They will help you.
Good.
Okay. Thank you so much. So Stephen, I've got another engagement. If there's nothing else, I'd like to lead the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I believe there's no other question. Thank you very much, Nalin. We really appreciate your time. We appreciate your session. It was very great. It was inspiring, and we hope for betterment. We hope for betterment in everyone's life there. Thank you very much, Nalin.
Yeah.
Right.
God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. We move to the next session. We'll be welcoming Emmanuel, Emeche, and you'll be presenting on decent work, how you can leverage on decent work, creating a decent work as a student, as a graduate, as a professional. Hi, Manuel.
Okay. Hello, Stephen. So the name is Emmanuel Emeche, not
sorry.
Mechi. So good
Apologies for that.
afternoon, everyone. And it's good to be on the call. I've been here for over 40 minutes plus. So I think the call has been going fine so far.
So
Okay. Did you say something? Did you ask me a question? Because
so there was a break in transmission. So Emmanuel, can you share us your story on how far you've
I guess the
been?
network. Okay. Okay. If you could type on the chat box, I don't know, because I can only hear you say I should share my screen, or I don't know what you said I should do. Hello? Hello? Okay, I hope everyone can hear me. If you can hear me, please just type yes on the chat box. I could not hear Stephen properly, and I'm not sure it's still on the call, but I okay, so you can hear me. Okay, so based on discussion with Isiaka, I guess he wants me to give a background of myself, and so basically, like everyone on the call, I believe most of us are students. I was also a student. I'm still a student because I'm still learning, and we keep learning every day. And I believe the previous speakers also is also still learning and getting developed as he goes every day. So I believe we can say we are all colleagues, and together we are trying to see how we could do more in the space of decent work and providing employment, especially in the time of this pandemic. So for a couple of years, especially right back as 2018, I got very much involved in a decent workspace because I saw it as a space that relates to a part of the business I was into because I'm into career and business development. I actually started that in 2016. That was just about when we were about to round up with our school activity because I saw that at that point in time I was helping people. I was doing businesses at a more affordable rates, and we also help them. Recently, I think I was just in a call with somebody who is trying to recruit a business developer, and so we do that also. We help people recruit. We do a lot of stuff in career training, like training the NYC and other people like that to prepare them for the space of work. So as a person, I've evolved into so many other things apart from this I just mentioned. Because of this call, I'll just dwell on the area of decent work. So in 2018, I became the regional for UNGCY, as United Nations Major Group for Children and Youth. Please, if I'm speaking too fast, you could just type um, say something in the chat box. So basically, in 2018, that was October, I became a regional for, and after that, so I began to engage with some social organizations like the ILO, that's International Labour Organization. And also, I think recently before the pandemic, we're supposed to work on something with UNDESA, that's it's a UN body, Department of Economic, Social Affairs, something like that. I was supposed to work on something with them, and the pandemic came, and everybody know how things went. So basically, since 2018, I've been active in the area of decent work and trying to see how to help youth to gain employment, gain work. So what I can say in getting to this stage in my career of professionalism and business, I would say one thing that my focus has always been like on myself. A lot of people compare themselves with people and say, okay, all youths are going into this, and because of that, you're all now going to that same thing. So it's not something that I do not do as a person. I look at what Emmanuel can do, what do I want to do, what will I like to do, and I focus on that and begin to do that. So basically, I focus more on the work I can do. Not like I was trying to tell somebody on the call now, like, okay, that apart from all the things you feel you could get, like certificates, recognition, all those stuff, as a young activist, as a young um, professional, you should focus more on the work that you can do, because your work will speak for you as time goes by. So by the time you keep doing work relevant to the field where you want your career to be in, then you begin to become relevant in that field. So you do relevant things that will make you become relevant. Not that you just do this today, tomorrow you are doing that, and next month you are doing this. For me as a person, like I said, I do a lot of stuff. So people ask that, oh, how do you get to do all these things? How do you get to do all that? But I'm still telling you that you have to focus on one thing or something like that. Now, this is the picture. So sometimes people may not be able to understand your goal. Like I may not be able to explain the end goal, but some of us can multitask and do a lot of things at the same time and still be able to make a niche in each of them or in a particular 2 or 3 of them. Why some people are in a way whereby they just do one thing and that's all. So you need to understand yourself. What can you do? How can you do it? And focus on your part. So do not start comparing yourself with yourself. And at the end of the day, you're not doing anything. You're just doing what everybody is doing. At the end of the day, you're just trying to pursue people. Basically, when you stand in your field, in your area of specialization, focus relevant things in that area. Before you know it, you have people that need to see you as someone so this group that we are in, everybody was kind of doing a particular kind of business and kind of stuff. And I just looked and said that, okay, oh, okay, so you can hear now. So at the point in time, I just said to myself that, okay, I can't, this is not my space. This is not what I should be doing at this time. And I just withdrew from whatever they were doing. And I went on to focus on what I could do at that time. And so that I was not supposed to, at this point now, a lot of people in that group still come to me to create a niche for myself, even without advertising to them that, okay, we're into such business or we're into this. Hello, can we hear me now? Can we hear me now? So, okay, if I hope you can. So, if Okay. I don't know if Steven is on the call. So can you confirm if you can hear me so I know that I'm actually communicating?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, please. Okay, because everywhere seems quiet and I don't know. Okay, so basically, so I was trying to say that at that point I'm going to score that. Okay, I needed not to be at that space, and I will do from that area and focus on what I was doing. A lot of those people who are doing all those many things still come to me to come and do what I was doing. They call me for that because you are known for that. So when you are focusing on one thing, you are known for that thing. Not that when you do today, you are working on this sense work, maybe as an activist, then you leave this sense work, you move to something else. But if you can do this sense work and still do so many other things, and you are still doing fine, there's no problem. But not. Oh, sorry about that. Hello.
Yeah,
So can you hear me now?
yeah, we can hear you now.
Oh, sorry about my
Okay,
device. The Bluetooth
no problem, no problem.
device synchronized with my phone, so I could not. Okay, so
Oh,
okay, so sorry about that. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to say is that I don't know if I'm answering questions I was supposed to answer because I could not hear the question you asked me. I just had to continue before you. So I don't know if I could stop now and hear from you if there are questions I'm supposed to answer and if I'm actually going in line with what you want me to say. Hello?
you can still continue. You can still continue.
Yes, did you ask a question before now? Did you ask? Because I
No,
could,
no, no, I
you know,
didn't.
okay,
I,
so,
I okay.
okay.
Yeah,
So I should just continue.
yeah, please.
Okay. So that's it basically. Then one other thing I know I do basically is that I wouldn't say connecting with people in the local community is not too good. Most of what I do most of the times I try to focus on what I can do remotely, like working with international organizations. Like there are several of them that I'm into that probably um, many of us might not know about. Basically, it's easier because they are online. I can easily work for them remotely, like volunteer for maybe organization like the UMGCY, work with several people across the globe, and that can be done easily. Like recently, I think there's this just closed yesterday. That is youth lead. They had the ambassador call opportunity. A lot of people may not know about all these things, so we just focus on what can I do in my environment. Sometimes you can just volunteer online That helps you gain relevance even in your local communities. Because when you start doing something nationally, you begin to get some voice in your local community that, oh, this person has done this somewhere else. You even get more relevant sometimes. That, okay, you volunteer for a professional organization. People want to get relevant, get connected to you because they believe that you should know what you are doing for you to be working with that professional organization. So local audience is also good. Local volunteering is good. You could also leverage the remote work with international organization because it broadens your scope of thinking. But most times when we work with people from different across culture, so you're able to understand what they are doing you're able to understand what they are doing in their what will I say their community and relate it to what you're also doing in your own place. So you don't have a local perspective of things. So sometimes when some people speak, you hear them speak, I know that this person is just speaking from, I won't say a shallow mindset, but because they're only speaking from what is happening in Nigeria, what is happening in their community. But when you work with people across the globe, you're able to reason with what is happening in Kenya, what is happening in Somalia, what is happening in Lebanon, what is happening in different countries. So you have the scope of what decent work is, and you can easily relate it to your own African and local perspective. Then also, it helps you represent the African voice. Sometimes when we attend some of these international calls, we see that we have Africans that are, we always have them sometimes in low representation. For example, some calls that I am into, I'm just the only Nigerian there, or probably we just have two other people that are from Nigeria, or probably from Africa, we just have three people, and they are like that severally everywhere. Now, this is not having you to travel from Nigeria to the country. Just coming online, attending this meeting, a lot of people are like, oh, what is the essence? Are they going to pay me? Are they going to? So you don't really see a lot of Africans coming to that space. Some of these meetings, decisions have been made that affect your life and life of several other youths, but you're not going to be there because you feel that you're not being paid to do that. Whereas we have people, youths across universities all over the world that are willing to be there and be there. Even they can be there times two, they want to be there because they believe that being there is something that they understand what it does in their career, but they understand what it does for them as a professional. We in Africa, sometimes most of us don't understand these things. But I can understand that some of you are students, so I'm happy that you have been involved into all these things at this point in your academic life. So I believe it's a good place to start. I think that is something that's going to be very helpful to you, even when you are going to look for internship and when you want to look for job placements and probably even doing your NYC, because you can have reference to activities you have done while you were in school. So it's even boost your profile and also your resume and CVs and the like. So I don't know if there's any other questions. So there's some things that she's supposed to speak about. I wish. So hand over to Steven.
Okay. I think there are no questions on this chat box, but we collected questions from the form and which I would like to throw to you. Okay, one of the questions here says, how can a talented but inopportune individual carve a niche to land his dream job?
Okay.
Yeah.
So someone who is talented, there's someone that is talented and what?
And inopportune, like being talented and not having opportunities.
Okay, the person is talented, but there's no much opportunities. So
Yeah.
being talented and not having opportunities, I don't think there's anything like not having opportunities. It's just as simple as saying that you have not found your opportunities. If you are talented, then you should be talented enough to look for those opportunities and get them. So, but let me be more like relative to most of what African youth try to say, because most African youth feel that there's no opportunities, there's no this, there's no that. And we hear a lot of people coming to Africa and tell us that there's a lot of things, opportunities abound. And we are like, so basically, there are a lot of opportunities actually. The key is for us to find them, and actually take advantage of them. So, for example, if you look at the area of employment, a lot of people will tell you that there are no jobs. And when you speak to HR officers, when you speak to business owners, like I just said, somebody called me this morning and telling me they want to recruit somebody, and they have been trying to get somebody to fill that role, and they are still not able to get somebody. So, in that person's perspective, now we will tell you that it's hard to get people to fill that, that there's nobody to fill the role, or there are no people to get this job. Why somebody else is outside saying there are no jobs? Now there are many jobs, but there's no people to fill the job for an employer. So basically, what I'm trying to say in essence is that we need to prepare ourselves to fill those places. We need to seek those opportunities. First of all, find them. As we are looking for them, we are getting ready to fill them. But I, as a professional, as a person, there are some positions that I'm still looking at getting in my career. So what I do is that each time I'm doing almost every, or let's say every month or every year, I take a look at those goals, those things. I look at it. Am I getting closer to achieving them? For example, let's say I'm looking at becoming. Let's assume. Let me use somebody else. Let me not use myself. Let's assume that somebody is trying to become the um, vice chancellor of your university, for example, and he's a lecturer. Definitely, he knows the requirements that to become a vice chancellor, you have to do A, B, C, D. So he begins to work towards that part, even as a lecturer. Every time he checks, okay, I've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what is left is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You understand what I'm trying to say? So he's preparing himself and he's looking out for, okay, he's preparing himself and he's looking out for opportunities. So what a talented person can do at this point in time is to look out for opportunities and get the requirements for those opportunities. Requirements per se, like I've explained, it could be a certification, it could be like an experience, it could be something, a particular skill that those people are looking for that will add up to you getting that place. It could be also a network, like somebody referring you. It could be that you're creating a relationship. So people just focus on work, 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 work. It could be that you know somebody that is going to be in the board of directors there. So it could be any of all these things, but just make sure that, okay, I want to apply for this stuff next year. So this year, I'm going to get ready. I'm doing a project that will push me to get to that place. I'm getting to connect with one of the workers that works in that place and you're preparing yourself. I'm taking the courses that I noticed that almost of all their workers or people in that place are taking or have taken. So you are getting yourself ready. You're doing relevant things, posting comments, typing, doing events like this, doing things that will place you at a better position when you apply. So that's one thing I think we can do. Basically, look for those opportunities, get to know when they are coming out, and prepare yourself in acquiring them in every way you can, academically, getting the right skill, being the right network, and creating the right relationship. I think that's something that can help. And one other thing I think that can help also is you also, I don't know how to put it, but basically, I would say you getting favor, because favor helps in a lot of way, because sometimes we feel we have done it all, but that extra favor could be what can just push you to getting that opportunity that can turn your life around.
Okay, good. Okay, there's one more question here. Okay, for people that just for anyone that just got a job, what would be your opinion on ensuring that salary negotiation ends on a positive note?
Okay, said people who just get a job, that there's salary equation, right?
Salary negotiation.
Okay, salary negotiation. Okay, so then this is a tricky part. So I'll give an example. Like sometimes it can be on the high side, sometimes it can be on the low side. I'll give an example of somebody who has the OND and he went to work for a company owned by a friend of mine. This company, what they do is they develop content. And when he went there, he said, I think it was referred by his brother. So he wanted to be like a content, like a graphics or something like that. So he was supposed to do this interview, and they asked him, how much would you like to be paid? And I'm going to use a random figure or just use X. Okay. So he said he wanted to be paid X amount, and
Okay.
the employer employed him. After a while, so Maisie was employed. Let me say X plus 5. It was not paid X plus 5 amount. So that means he got something extra beyond what he was even bargaining for. You understand? So the person felt that his bargaining power was not good enough. So he also, let me not cheat him. Let me add something to that. So after working for a while, he decided that he now maybe feels that he's supposed to earn more. Probably he begins to feel that the company is making more of him. I don't know. Then, funny enough, at the end of the day, he resigned from the workplace, even without getting another offer. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is that sometimes most of us don't know how to bargain because we just feel that getting a job is a wonderful opportunity. Even though I'm going to get paid 50,000, I'm going to be happy. And by the time you now start working, you'll be like, this money is not even it's not even as much as I think it was supposed to be, because you can't even cover from the transport fare. Most of us don't know what we are worth. We don't know we don't know how to value ourselves. So we end up shooting ourselves in the leg. And by the time we start
Okay.
working, we begin to regret that, why am I working here? So we have to understand, but evaluate yourself. For me, for example, there's some amount I cannot take, not because it's out of pride, but I know that I'm beyond that value, basically. And two, sometimes you take a small amount because of the experience or value you want to get somewhere else. For example, I want to get a network in, so I decided to go and work for a company, not because of the salary, but because I want to get some network in that office, or I want to get an experience, or I want to get a referral, I want to get that in my CV that I've worked with this person, work with this company. So those are the things you put into value when negotiating. So I want to negotiate in such a place where I know that I will get a nice experience. I don't really care about the pay, and they want to pay me less. I mean, not is that bothered. But when I know that I've valued myself, I've put myself, look at my cost of coming to that place, I've looked at what I can get from, apart from monetarily, what can I get in value? And I can now decide to say, okay, this is how much I will get, that I will not be so bad or angry that I'm working here. It will not affect my, let me say, it will not kill my joy when I'm coming to work every day. I'll be happy. I'll be happy coming to work. So that's one. So we know how to
Okay.
value ourselves, know how to put a fee that we know that will be good enough for us and keep us working while we are still learning. But basically, I would also want to say that now that some of us, they like to put our fee so high, because with some people just finish in school and say, oh, I want to make 250,000 every month. And you come to somebody that wants to employ you, and the person, and you are good, and the person is wonderful, wants to employ this person. But ask how much do you want to pay? Wants to pay you, and you're like, I want to pay 250K every month. And the company where you're going to work, maybe probably the person is interviewing you, the person is just being paid 100,000, and you are coming as a junior staff, just as an intern, and you want to be paid 250,000. So probably you may lose that job, not because you're not qualified, but because your bargaining your start bargaining point is just beyond what the company can afford.
Can
Probably
afford.
they might not even tell you. They'll just say, okay, we'll get back to you. Hello? Hello, can you still hear
Yeah,
me?
yeah, we are with you. Yeah, with you.
So they'll just be like, we'll get back to you, and that's probably the end. And you will not know why. Most people will not tell you why they do not get back to you. That's probably the end. So basically what I can say, for you to give a company a kind of fee you want to collect, probably you should make a research about the company. After you value yourself, also value the company, value what the company can offer, what they can pay you. By the time you do those two valuation, you can now come at a midpoint that, okay, if the company's value is this way, and I think I'm worth this amount, probably I should start with this bargaining. Probably maybe they could take it lower or higher or something like that. So at least you can now come to a meeting point, basically. So I'll give an example for myself. There was a time um I had this opportunity, and okay, I think I was just after the NYC, not too long after then. So I went to this company just because I love what they are doing at the point in time, and I wanted to work with them for a while. So after we spoke with the person, he felt that he just wanted me to be around the office for a while. So I felt, okay, since it was okay by me, after persuading me, so I went, we started working. After a while, when he saw the things I was doing, the value I was getting even after work, like I was thinking other things I was doing, other programs I was doing. After he was seeing my status, seeing up, he felt that okay, then he wanted me to become the manager of the office. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. So now basically I wasn't a full-time staff, I was just like part-time coming to the office. So from that part-time staff, I would now be the head of everybody over there. So it was someone that okay, I felt like what are people that have been staff for years, what are they going to be how are they going to feel anyway? But basically what I'm trying to point in now is that it was when we got to the point of pay. Okay, how much would you like to pay me for my services? So at the end of the day, nobody was giving any answer. He was not telling me how much. I was not telling him how much. So the conversation almost, I think, ended that way. So basically, some companies might also not want to tell you how much they want to pay you. They want you to speak first, and sometimes you just have to give them a figure, basically. So I think you have to really know what you are worth, what the company can pay, and let them know. And don't try to shoot it too high. Never try to shoot it too low. So I think that's what I can say for that.
That. Okay, good, good. Okay, I have one question to also ask you. I believe big companies like Chevron and all these other companies, they receive thousands of applications to every what they open. So as a person, as a graduate, as a student or professional that is planning to work in all these companies, how can I ensure that my application stands out? How can I ensure that my CV stands out?
Okay, ensuring that your CV stands out is something I think I've spoken about while I was talking, but I'll still try to point them out. Basically,
Okay.
basically, it's more of like you working on yourself in light of where you want to go, like in the company. For example, like I said, you want to get to work in Chevron, probably in the next year. You look at what Chevron requires to work with them. You begin to prepare
Okay.
yourself to meet that standard. Chevron
Okay.
wants all their engineers to have ABC, YZ. Now, I'm going to work there in the next 1 year. So I'm going to try to get ABC, YZ. So by the time I'm getting to apply with them next year, I'll get a better chance than any other person that's there. That's more on the technical part, like preparing yourself, getting the let me say the stuff that you need. Now in your CV, structuring your CV is nothing. A lot of people have good skills, good work they have done, but they do not know how to put this down into paper. So by the time they apply, they are not getting called. Definitely, even when they have all the skills, they have all the training, they are attending all the seminar, yes, they are not being called because they do not know how to prepare this CV properly. So when you
CV.
have done all the trainings and need to be trained about that, it's going to be relevant to that field. You are busy attending seminars that was relevant to that field. You are taking courses relevant to that field. You even get a volunteer job to give you some experience, even that was relevant to the field where you want to go to. So all these things I've mentioned, getting skill, doing volunteering, taking courses, doing posting things relevant to that field. Because all these people look at your social media, they look at your LinkedIn. By the time you're always posting sexy mama, hotel club, all those stuff, and you now say you want to be a business manager for Chevron, and by the time they take your name and they look at all your profile and they don't even see any posts that related to where you are going to, I don't, even though you are coming with the first class, I don't know if they want to employ such a person. They'll definitely think twice, especially if they have somebody better than you or equally better, but having those things on their social media. So you have to look at all those things too. But now, like I said before, your CV. So if you are like in our firm, I don't because of it, sometimes we help people to prepare their CV and stuff like that. So basically, when you look at your CV and you are not, it's not well structured. For example, you see some people in their CV at the beginning of the CV, they're writing their state, they're writing their age, they're writing things that the company does not even really need. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. Their email, your
Like
email,
relevant things.
yes, irrelevant things. For example, Chevron is employing and you're writing you are from Okutikupa in Ogun State. What does that got to do with the job? You are
Yeah.
already taking spaces, unnecessary spaces. You're writing so many things that doesn't relate. For example, your email is also having, for example, your email is having sexymama@gmail.com on top of your application. So some of these things are already at the header. So some people don't care to go down to the end of the, don't want to even see all your volunteer experience and all those things. Once they begin to see us relevant thing, they see this person is not serious, they throw your CV at the side. Number two, like the area of age. Some people put their age when it's not necessary. For example, if your age is going to be advantage to you, probably you are very young and you feel that would be an advantage getting the job. You can actually put that. If your sex, for example, is going to be an advantage to you, right, as well put that. But those things are not necessary. What they need to see are your qualifications, your then your contacts,
Excuse.
yes, your skills, your qualification, their contacts to get back to you. Example, isiaka.emmanuel@gmail.com. It's a good name, not Isa for life. So it doesn't make sense. So isia.email@outlook@gmail, it's cool enough. So I can easily contact that person. So basically, those are the things that we need to watch out. Then when you're writing, you also put an objective, maybe a career objective or a career goal or career summary, what some people call it, like a profile. You say, oh, so and so person looking to work in a so and so firm that will help my analytical, blah, blah, blah. Something like that that is convincing, showing that my point is good in their career. Then probably after that, you put your educational quality. You want to see, okay, this person have the educational requirements, you put that, then you begin to put other things that you have done, your volunteer skills, your experience, all of those things. Then once you are done, you put probably your hobby, and you can write like a reference available after when required or when requested. So basically, all of that stuff that you can actually look this up, how to write a structure of CV, but we need to know how to structure our CV properly. Because some people's CV, like I said, once you just look at it, the relevancies are not coming first. You put a lot of irrelevancies, and some of them don't have time. Some of them have like 1,000 or 5,000 CVs to review, and you now put all these things, and you really don't have time for that. You just throw it in the corner and look at the next one. And also, some of them submit their CV online and put it in formats that are not readable. For example, you put your CV in Word, maybe except if the company asks you to put it in Word. Put it in Word format, and by the time it gets to the company, it's already scattered. Letter A has gone to the bottom, letter B has gone to the side, and it's not readable. Some people put their CV on a drive, Google Drive. So after the company has opened your email, you have to now click on the Google Drive, now download your CV. Who has time for all of that? So definitely all those things, you may have the skills, you may have all the talent, you may have all the requirements, but if you are not presentable, probably you will not even get an interview. So I think that's well said, and I think those are basic things I think we need to work on. Get the technicality worked on as yourself, work on yourself, get the training, get the skill, get prepared, and present yourself properly on your CV, and also present yourself properly, even if you get the opportunity to get an interview. Just make sure you are well prepared. So that's the basic thing I think we need to get informed about.
Okay. Okay, I have another question here, and I have another question here. How do I develop connections with those in my field that are distant? For example, building a network on LinkedIn. So how can I leverage on LinkedIn to build connection with people that are into my field?
Okay, like I said something, I was telling one of us in a call. When you build relevance, people will look for you. A lot of people that reached out to me. I think somebody reached out to me from Kenya. I don't even know them before. They want me to write something. I didn't end up writing because I feel like sometimes I get too busy. I wasn't able to help them out. But basically, what I'm trying to say is that when you have relevance, people reach out to you from where you don't even. A lot of people have reached out. I've seen a lot of recommendation reference, like so people that I've worked with for reaching out to me. I think there was a day somebody reached out to me for a program in Philippines. And that program was supposed to be like in 12 hours time, and it was like 3 a.m. in the morning. I had to do that. It was like something like this, but it was a podcast. Now, because of the work I was doing, that's why these people are able to reach out to me. So basically, build relevance. Do what things that will make people reach out to you. Now you can see that I'm not talking about you reaching out to people first. Do things that will make people reach out to you. Just do things that will make people reach out to you. So by the time you are doing such things, if you now reach out to people, they will definitely want to be, I want to say, related. Let me use that word. They want to have a relationship with you because you are somebody relevant in the field which they are into. Let's say I get a LinkedIn connect and I look at the person profile and I see that the person is probably not into what I'm doing, or is just saying looking for a job opportunity. Some people just put in their CV looking for job opportunity, connecting everybody. So I really don't know how to relate to such a person sometimes. Basically, build, don't start connecting people. Don't start saying I want to connect with this. I want to just leave everybody alone first. Focus on yourself. Don't be so moved. I want to connect. I want to send this person a friend request. I want to send this person connect. I want to send that. Just allow them to be. Work on yourself. Start doing something. So by the time you are doing things relevant to that feed, that you now feel that you can now have people even wanting to connect with you. Then when you now send your own connect with your own colleagues in that area, they begin to connect with you also. For example, I don't know, I like to give examples. I believe Steven is a friend of Emmanuel. So, and two of you are also doing something relevant in that same space, in this decent workspace. Now, if Steven has a friend that he has connected with, probably somebody higher than him in the space of career, and by the time Emmanuel sends a connect and you see, oh, I know Steven, he's a wonderful person, and see Steven is also working with Emmanuel and they have done a lot of stuff together. Oh, that means Emmanuel should be a good person. Then he also accepts Emmanuel's connect. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that if you are working, start with what you have, your fellow people in your level that are doing the same thing. They can easily accept your connect because they want to get to meet people just the same way you want to. Then they are also building their network. So as they build their network and you do more collaborative work with them, they can also leverage on their network because those people will say, oh, since this person is a good person I know and he works in the area of this network and he's a friend of this person, so probably definitely should be somebody that I can also connect with. So by the time you are saying, oh, hi, I'm Emmanuel's so friend, say, yes, I know Emmanuel. You guys can now build on that and start talking and get to know each other. Now, like I'm also saying, now talking to people who are on the higher career level, you need to offer value. Don't go as you're trying to get something. Go like someone that is trying to help them. The people that I've spoken with that I went that same mindset. So you can call me. They're like, oh, Emmanuel, you can call me anytime. You can speak. But I do not call them because I don't want them to look as if I'm trying to get something. But when they need my help, when they need something, they reach out to me. And these are people that are higher in career than what the level I am in. But if I was trying to pursue them and say, hello, sir, please, I need you to recommend me for something. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. Probably they will just, oh, this boy is just looking for somebody to get something out. Basically, do not focus on what you want to get from people. Focus on what you want to give to them, and they will come and look for you. Then definitely you're already building your connect. Then one day when you now need their help, it will be very easier for them to offer because you have probably be so good and useful in the time past. That's what I think I can say. Build your value, focus on building yourself, focus on the work you are doing. People will definitely connect with value. Everybody wants to connect with value. That's it.
Okay, good. Okay, from your experience, I am very, very sure that you must
I
have
hope
been
I was able
receiving.
to answer. I hope I'm able to answer the questions properly. I hope you, because I wish I can hear from the participants too. Probably. Okay, you can go ahead. I can hear you.
Okay, from your experience, I'm very sure that you must have been receiving recommendation request. So I want to ask a question: do you recommend anyone, or what are the criteria you base the recommendation on?
Okay, to recommend people for a role or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, it depends. For example, like I said this morning, somebody called me to trying to recruit somebody. So if I should give a recommendation, I believe it should be somebody, even the space where we work, like in the UN bodies, should be somebody that you have worked with. For example, you've worked together on a project, you have done something together, so you can actually say this person is good in this area, and that or that. So basically, I don't think it's possible to recommend somebody that you don't know. or you don't know if they are capable of doing that work whatsoever. So it's easier to recommend somebody that you have probably worked with, you have done something with together, or person has worked for you, or something like that. So I wouldn't say there are criteria that are used for recommending people, but just like a normal general stuff. You can't recommend somebody that has never worked with you. If not, what will you be recommending them for? Probably you will not even know how to recommend such a person. So if, for example, Steven is the aspect of decent work and is doing this webinar, I know that he's always doing webinar. Somebody say, I'm looking for you to do a webinar. I can just, I know somebody who does that, Steven. So I have to know the person, I know what the person is doing, so I can now think of recommending that person to a particular area or field. So I think that's the basic thing most people do for recommendation.
Okay. Okay, how about if you notice that you won't be able to recommend that person? How do you respond to such a person that won't cause a problem, to hurt them?
For me as a person or a professional, I would say I know there's always diplomatic way or nice way of people saying things, but at the end of the day, for me as a person, if somebody uses such language to respond to me, I'll definitely understand the meaning. For example, you go and look for a job and they tell you that they'll get back to you. It's just a nice way of telling you that bye bye, we don't need you for the job. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. So
I'm getting you.
basically, if you use that some of these terms for somebody who is a professional, person knows what you are saying. At the end of the day, the person feelings might still be hurt in some. I think the time I was supposed to do a work with Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, and we could not continue that um collaboration anymore. But we did not tell them that we're not going to do that anymore. Just have to look for a nice way to tell them. That was my colleague in New York and stuff like that. But they knew that we're not going to continue with them with that work we're supposed to do. So basically, having a nice way to say it, I don't know if it helps, but if it does, I think just to get a nice way of telling the person. Um, for example, somebody comes to you on LinkedIn and say you should give them a recommendation. I think it's just best to tell the person the truth. I cannot recommend you because I do not yet know the value or maybe level of your expertise in this field. Probably, if that's the case. So I think it's just best to tell the person the truth, the most easiest way that the person can understand. And if the person is also working towards becoming a professional, should be able to understand that with what has been said. Because most people will not recommend you if they're not sure if you are skillful in that field. Because if you're recommending somebody, it means the person, you are virtue for the person that the person is good enough to fill that role. So probably if the person does not trust that you are good enough to fill that role, the person has not yet been convinced that you. So you need to convince that person. So it's more of you trying to do more work in that field or stuff like that. So basically, just to tell the person the truth. I don't think in a nice way anyway. So I think that's all that can be done in such a case.
Okay, have you ever recommended someone who you think will be competent and later got a report that that person is not competent? What was your response?
Okay. In that, I'm trying to look for an example to give if there's any.
Okay.
I'm not sure I've ever recommended somebody and the person later became incompetent. I'm not sure I've ever had that experience, or have I ever gotten a complaint um, of such, because I'm always very careful in who I recommend for things. So I'm not sure I've ever gotten that. I think I would.
Okay.
I won't.
Okay, how about if it happens? What will you do?
Okay. So
Yeah.
I would want to say because I believe you are asking for people so the participants could also get something from it. So I can say, I can either answer what can somebody do, what can the other person do if they are in their shoes. So basically, I would not say, or I would say that, let me say that the person who you recommended someone to will definitely not believe that you are a God that knows everything that will happen or is about to happen. So if you recommended person somebody because you feel the person is capable and the person was not capable of doing the job, probably it might be because maybe the person changed, maybe it's a character change. So it depends on what's happened. Probably it was a character flaw or a technicality flaw. So that's not really um that doesn't really it's not really totally bad. But it's something that's not good because the person it may affect relationship with that person. That's one of the reasons people are always very careful recommending people to organizations things like that. So if for example the UN recommended you for something and you go there and you do not do it properly, you already spoiled your relationship with that organization, and the relationship between the UN and that organization is going to be affected somehow. So basically, they would not want to recommend just anybody. Basically, I believe that if such a thing happens, the best you can do is to call those people, apologize to them, make them understand that, or try to make them understand that it was probably out of what the person was doing, out of best interest, you made that recommendation, and you're sorry that it went the way it went. So just to apologize, basically, because you never know what can happen to somebody, and 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 what people can turn to be. So you basically just apologize to them, make them understand why you recommended the person, you are sorry for the way it went, and also the person you have recommended, if you can reach out to him or her and try to find out what really happened, and just try to make some kind of mending of the relationship between you and the
person.
probably not just the person, I mean the organization who you refer to, because the person who who you refer to somebody to and you didn't do well, it depends on his response. If you talk to him or her and the person does not pick your call, for example, probably there's not much you can do. That means he knows what he has done and does not want you to speak to him. Or you call him and you still explain to him that what he did is wrong. I just say people like that, I've spoken to them about some stuff they did, and they are like, they do not understand what I'm trying to say. They feel they are still right and they did the right thing. And sometimes you cannot make them understand. Maybe when they grow, as in grow in the line of experience, they will understand that those actions were actually not the right thing to do. Sometimes you just do your best, talk to both parties, and let it be.
Okay. Okay. There's a question in the chat box. If you don't know someone, but the CV speaks volume for a good recommendation, will you still recommend?
Okay. So, for example, I don't know somebody directly,
Yeah.
but the person's CV speaks volume for a good recommendation. So by speak volume, I mean you're trying to say that it has a good standard for recommendation. Now
Recommendation.
anybody can put together a wonderful CV. Anybody with brains can come together, put a CV that, God forbid, some of them the informations are even fallacious and not true. So that's why people are always very careful in giving recommendation. So probably I think what can work in is probably network, like I said. For example, if the person is coming to somebody I can vouch for, and that person is bringing this person to me, and based on that, I feel okay. I can now try and say, okay, let me recommend this person to you. But I'm still very skeptical about doing that because most of the time, like I always try and say, I think I think I mentioned that earlier. Sometimes these things affect relationships between organizations because even within the UN space, like for example, ILO and UNESCO, these are two organizations under the UN body. So we need to be careful still these two organizations are very careful with the way they relate to each other. Because I know several times we're about to approach some UN body and our government focal point to just say, oh, please make sure you inform me to be careful how we approach these people. So even within the UN space, within different organizations, everybody is careful in the way you relate, the way you communicate to somebody. You use the right official tag, you use the right official platform, the right medium. Probably if you're supposed to go through a director, you make sure you go. So everybody is always very careful. So be careful about relationship because you do not want to go and mirror the relationship that has been existing for years because of your miscommunication. So basically what I'm trying to say is that organizations are very, and individuals are always, professionals are always very careful in recommending somebody. If you recommend somebody to an organization and he goes there and probably does something that is as terrible as God knows what, probably maybe even stealing their money, probably impersonating someone, and you are the one who recommended this person, it's going to affect your relationship with that organization. Probably maybe you're working on a project that was going to be very big and very wonderful, and this person that you recommended just did this. That may just put a pause to what you are doing at that time because you know you to communicate with them further. What they will be sending to you is email telling you about what the person you refer has done. So you need to respond to that. So all the project you are working on for that moment may have to be put on hold. So a lot of people, sometimes when you meet people, they should recommend you and they are not responding. Sometimes it's not their fault per se because it's something that can spoil a lot of work they're already doing if they recommend the wrong person. I have met somebody before that it was a pastor of mine, somebody I know very closely, and I was asking for a referral. It was a referral grant, and he was telling me that he does not do that. I was like almost heartbroken that wow, I've known you for years, and you cannot just. He's somebody that I go to his house every time. Even up to now, I still go there to eat with his family, and he could not even refer me. So that is the standard. Like I don't do that. Sometimes you don't blame people when they cannot because some people can tell you about the experiences they had seen. So it's not so easy. You refer. But what I still come back to say, build more on your relevance. For example, you send me a good CV, and I take that CV, I look at your name, see what you have been doing, see you have a good profile, ask some people about you. Then probably I can also try to recommend you in good faith. But basically, if I take your name from your CV and I check everything you have done, ask people, and I cannot get any reason to want to recommend you, probably I may not end up doing that. So you need to still work on your relevance. So that it will help you a lot. It's really would. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it does. Okay. Thank you very much. I have one question to ask. I believe some people are not actually looking for jobs and they're actually planning to create jobs. So what pieces of advice would you have for such people on creating jobs for younger ones?
Okay. One thing I would like to say for people who want to create job, it's probably I know that for example, someone like me, also someone that looks into creating job for people, and will be able to do some for a few. But basically, I believe you can't create something that you don't know about. So most time people always still say that you have to work. Even though you want to be a job, you want to create job, you still have to work in the industry to understand the structure of business, to understand the structure of organization, to practically understand, not just by books. So if you want to create a job, so you need to know how to do that. You need to know how organizations work. So probably you could volunteer for an organization, or you could actually work for an organization that you would like to create job in. Work with them either a year or two, probably as you are creating your business. Work with them with a year or two, get understanding of the field. You network, you meet people, things that you will never know, or you have to learn by mistake and error. You will learn on the job. So you can do it together simultaneously. You are doing your business if it's possible. You're volunteering for another organization relevant to your field. You're working for another organization relevant to your field, where you want to create the jobs, where you want to start a business, and you get to understand where the things work over there, and you're able to implement it in your own business or area. So you need to be preparing. You need to prepare. I kept saying that. Prepare, work with somebody that is relevant to that field, understudy them, get to know how it's being done, that you can apply it in your own area also. So don't just wake up and say, I want to be um, an entrepreneur and just go in straight in. Definitely, you can survive. You can do a lot of stuff. It's very possible, but a lot of things would have happened. You have made a lot of mistakes that you shouldn't have made rather. You would have done a lot of things. You would have made a lot of relationships because you don't understand organization structure. So a lot of relationships you would have destroyed because you don't understand structure of things, and by the time you understand, it's too late to go back to mend them. So the best you can do is to work with the organization, understudy them. So when you are going into your own field, you have some years of understanding, and you can easily get mentors because you have worked with them before. They know you for 2 years working with them. So when you are now in your own field, you can say, oh, I have one of my boss. Let me call him and ask him this question. Let me seek his advice here because you always need those things. But when you just wake up and start up on your own, you have never worked under anybody, you have never understood anybody, who are you going to call to ask for questions? Who is going to refer you when you need reference? Who is going to vouch for you? Who is going to recommend you? Who's so many other things like actually in business you need network. For example, just opening a bank account, the bank will ask you, get referee of 2 people that have business accounts. So if you have never had anybody that is your mentor doing business with you, or you're not in the space of people who have corporate and business accounts, how do you even get referee for that? So that's just as simple as one of the lowest level I can give you. So definitely several other places where you need referral, people to refer you for a job, for a contract, for a bidding, so many things like that. So you need to understand that some people, work with them. That will help you in your network. That will help you get experience. That will help you when you need to ask questions and mentorship. So that's one thing I think you need to do before you just head out and start doing your business.
Good. Okay. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. Okay, what advice would you have for other guys, other job seekers on breaking age barrier?
Okay, people that are quite old. Okay, there are a lot of people like that. Even within my network, I think I have a close friend that is presently over 30 and just finished from the university and is now seeking employment. So there are definitely people like that. Some people try to reduce their age. Though I'm not a party to that, but a lot of people do a lot of stuff. So but I keep saying, relevance, 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 relevance. I don't think anybody has ever asked me my age when it comes to a lot of stuff that I do for them. The only time when people ask about my age when we are in area of there's an interview with a UN body and they want to do a publication, so they ask for some youths and they say, okay, how old are you? So they publish it. Emmanuel, so years old, he's from Africa, blah blah blah, all the stuff like that. So that's most of the time. Probably when we're applying for some position, applying for something, and they say, okay, we want to use between the age of 18 to 24, so 18 to 35. Those are the times I see that come up. But in the area of work, this is why I mentioned that there's no point putting your age on your CV when you know it's not going to be an advantage to you. So if I'm going for a job and probably I knew that these people want somebody young and I'm already 32, so what I'm going to do definitely, I won't put that age there. I'll put what they need, what to attract them to call me for an interview. So by the time they call me for an interview and see that I'm looking young, I'm intelligent, I'm the best guy for the job, but then I ask, how old are you? And they are looking for somebody within the age of 26, let's say 26, no more than 26, 27, as most companies do. And this person is already 32. But when they look at him physically, it looks like someone that is even 24. It looks like someone that is even very young. They were like, you're 32, but you look 24. Now, this best company sees that you have all the qualifications and they like the way they are talking to you. You have the experience. The only clause is that you are looking, your age is looking above what they need. Now, if it's a sensible company that knows the stress in getting the right person for the job, I can tell you that they will definitely take that person for the job. because they'll have to consider, okay, the only reason why we are saying we want a young person is because we want somebody who is young. So the only reason why I say we want somebody 27 because we want somebody who is young and is capable, that is not married, that will be saying my wife is and children are not stopping me from traveling here and there. And this person says is ready to do the job and he looks capable. They would have to consider and say, please, let's have this person because we have interviewed over 1,000 people. Finally, we got somebody just because of 2 years extra. They will definitely take that person for the job. But assuming he had put it on the CV from the beginning, even without seeing him, even without speaking to him, he has put it on the CV that I am 32 years old. They don't even need to start reading the CV. Once they just see 32 and the company is saying we are looking for 27, they don't even need to read. They just squeeze it, put it aside, or delete the CV since it's on electronic format, push it to one corner and continue looking at the rest of the names. So there's no point putting your age if you know it will stop you. No point putting your sex if you know it will hinder you. No point putting even your state because some people don't like Ekiti state people and you're not putting your state. Ekiti, this is Ekiti person that killed my daughter. Just push the CV to one corner. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that all those irrelevancies, do not put in your CV. Put all the nice stuff, how you have done a lot of projects that can bring you to the interview table. So once you're at that interview table, you now begin to shoot out your opportunities and try to get yourself in there. So by the time they see all the good, this person is, so they can now even consider. So people put employment invite and say we just want engineers. And somebody from geology will apply and person will get the job. Because they after interviewing, they feel that, even though you're not an engineer, but you have the mind of an engineer, we like the way you like the courses you have taken. You have taken so many engineering courses online, we think you can do this job. Before you know, he's in the part of being an engineer. Why the person with the engineer certificate is still at home. So basically, and again, I want to go to this slide. Some people say when they apply for a job, they apply on the platform where they ask for their age, and they also have to fix their age into the place, and it automatically takes them off because their age is above. There's nothing I can say about that for now. Or I can say that opportunities are bound for you even within your age range. So if you see the ones that are above or below, so you are below your age range, and you feel you are not able to apply, do not get so worried. Just make sure you prepare yourself for the opportunities that are within your age range. So by the time you are in school and you are already 25 in 100 level, you know that by the time you are graduating, you would be already above your age range in getting some job. So what do you need to do? Start preparing from that moment. Start getting yourself employed. Like, it may not be full-time, maybe remotely. So by the time you are getting to that final year level, you have gotten maybe probably 5 years experience that somebody of 30 would need to get a job somewhere. Because by the time you are in the age of 30 something, they're expecting you to have like maybe 5 years experience or something like that. So we should have already begin to gather those experience while you are in school. Do relevant things. By the time you leave school, you cannot apply for, if somebody can apply for a management position because you have the experience of 5 years and you have done so many things that can even make you to become that person. So that's what I can say for now. I know that a one answer cannot answer your question, but I believe that people even that are much older, because of their relevance, because of the work they are doing, they are still getting employment in their own field that they want to be employing.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Thank you very much. I really learned a lot from you, especially the recommendation part. I really learned a lot from you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. On this note, we'll be ending the program. We appreciate everyone for joining. We appreciate everyone's time. We appreciate everyone. Thank you very much. Subsequently, we'll be having our programs and we will get in touch with everyone via email. Thank you, Emmanuel.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.